Alright, welcome back. Last time we got our move rocks in, our players are hitting them, they are moving, they are doing things, and that is great. Now we need to add the holes that the rocks can fall into. Unfortunately, this is like the move rock, an alteration to the actual tile set, but it's not too bad, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Easiest way I found to do this, we're going to go ahead and select one of the move rocks on your stage, right click, and we will clone object type. So just go ahead and clone and place it somewhere else. This leaves us with the right image, but we don't actually need all of the different behavior types. So first off, we can go to behaviors. We do want solid. We don't need tile movement, so we can delete that. And as far as instance variables, we can actually go ahead and delete what we have here. We don't need moving or direction. So let's go ahead and delete this and delete that. Excellent. So now let's change its name, because right now it's just MR2. We will call it hole. And the reason I'm cloning it from the move rock is because we need to animate the move rock falling into it. So let's go ahead and just double click, bring it up in the image editor here, and we're going to have some fun. All right, so first off, right click and duplicate the animation. Let's call one of them empty, and the next one we will call full. We just need to manipulate this a little bit. So first, let's grab the eraser and erase the shadow, because if the hole is empty, there is nothing casting a shadow, so we won't have a shadow on it. Now just grab the marquee tool here, select the whole top here, and click inside of it. So there's a weird thing with Construct where if you just select this whole thing and then start using the arrow keys, you just move the actual marquee selection itself. If you click inside just once, now the arrow keys will actually move what you have. So go ahead, make a marquee, just kind of grab around the middle there, and we're just going to pull this down. Let's go ahead and pull it down 1, 2, 3. There. I'm going to go ahead and fill this interior with a different color. Let's see. So our selection on this outside is not quite black. So let's go ahead and make it all the way black, and I am going to use the fill bucket tool to fill in the entire center. So now we have a full black dark hole there. I want to give it a little bit of depth, so let's go ahead and grab a green color. I actually wrote these down so I wouldn't forget. So we will add a hex of 363919. That gives us kind of a darker green here. Add our pencil tool, and we are just going to draw on around this outer edge here. Our next color will be 1B, 1D, as in dog, 0D. That gives us a little bit of a darker green, and this one we're going to pull all the way down 1, 2, 3. So this will be 3 pixels down from each of these. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and this last section you can just go straight across and fill in. And the last color you may not even be able to see super well on the screen depending on how the compression looks, but we will go 090A04, and that gives us a really dark green, which is not super noticeable probably, and no one will care but me. Okay, so that makes the hole look like it's actually and I think I totally did. I did it on the wrong one. So let me just rename these real fast, because I started drawing on full and not empty. If you did the same, I apologize. Go ahead and let's flip these names of the animations, because that's a big boo-boo. So empty is the main one that it's going to be. Let's go ahead and select it. If it's still showing this animation, all you have to do is select it. Come on over to the properties panel along the left here. Come on down to where it says initial animation. Drop that down and set it to empty. So now you can see it looks like the hole is actually sitting inside. That's where we're giving a little bit of depth here, so it looks like it's an actual hole. Let's go ahead and head over to full now. So the full animation actually is the rock falling into the hole. What we're going to do, the first frame is actually going to stay the same, because the first frame will be the rock over the hole. It'll be completely covering it and you won't notice it. So we're going to right click down here in the frames, duplicate. So now we have a secondary frame. And the secondary frame, all we're going to do, take the selection tool, select the whole top right up until this little line right here. Select that, click in it once, and press down on the keyboard once. Because for the hole we moved everything down 3 pixels, we're going to do 3 animations of this. So now that that's down 1, duplicate, grab the whole thing once again, click once, press down. Now we do run into a little bit of a problem here where if we try and do that again, we're going to start overlapping some stuff. What we'll do is duplicate one more time, so you should be on frame 3 now. We should have 4 full frames. On frame 3, all we're going to do is select this internal area here, select one, or click once, move it down, and then select everything above that, above where you have a gap here, click once, and press down. There we go. So now it looks like it has fallen in. And what we're going to want to do also on this one is to give it the illusion that it's sinking. We're going to start deleting some of the shadow. So we're going to delete all of these corner shadow blocks here, here, and the very bottom down here. So you should just have shadow blocks in these little corners. So now you can see it kind of looks like it falls down. It starts to shrink in. And then we will duplicate one last time. And on this last one, we will go ahead, while we have our eraser tool out, we will remove all shadows now since this is fully in the hole and would not be casting a shadow. And then we've just got to make everything look like it's dunked down. Easiest way I found to do that. Go ahead and grab your eyedropper tool, and the first thing we're going to grab is the center white color. Grab the pencil tool and draw a line along the bottom here. We're just going to fill in everything but 1 pixel around on all the corners. So it should look kind of like this. Then we will use the eyedropper tool one more time. Actually, we're going to use it 2 more times. So first up, do that. Grab the eyedropper tool on the darkest gray here. Hit the pencil tool. And we're going to put this in all of the corners like so. This is probably the easiest one to just follow along. I can't really explain well which particular place I'm putting it. So if you just make yours look like this, you should be good. Last but not least, select the eyedropper tool one more time and select the medium gray here. Select the pencil tool, and we are going to fill in these corners, the top, and then in between each of these little darker gray sections we just made. That was too much right there. So now if everything works out, this should look like it's falling in. And for our animation speed on this, we will have it at 10. So let's go ahead and make sure full, set its speed to 10. We do not want it to loop, and we can go ahead and play it and see if it looks all right. So see, it looks like it's sunk in. And congratulations, you just made art. Okay, and that's pretty much all we need to do for here. Our image point is in the top left. Our bounding box is correct on everything because we pulled it from the other move rock. So we can go ahead and close this, and that is perfect. So at the moment, we won't be able to move over the hole. And right now, if the move rock hits it, it's actually going to just stop the move rock here. So we need to make a way to check to see if a move rock runs into the hole. And the easiest way I've found to do that is actually to just use a checker. So we will double click, and we are going to make a sprite and call it hole_check. Go ahead and place this down. And now let's go ahead and just add a color. This color will not matter. We will not see it. This will be another one that will be initially visible. And because this is actually going to be a 2-frame animation, I am going to set the speed to 0. It won't actually animate. We're just going to use 2 frames instead of 2 different animations. Just a different way to do it, and hopefully it should be cool to see. So we're going to change the size here because we do not need it to be 250 by 250. We are going to make frame 0 to be 20 by 10. And make sure its bounding box is set. We will duplicate this, and we will change this size to 10 by 20. And make sure you fill in the rest of the color just so it's easier to see. Check its bounding box and set the bounding box full. So all you have to do is just right click, set to bounding box, and that will set the whole thing full. I somehow changed both, and I'm not entirely sure what I did there. Let's go ahead back to frame 0. Oh, I see what happened. 20 and 10. I have apply to hole animation checked. You want to make sure that is unchecked. If you had the same thing happen that I just did, make sure that is unchecked. And let's go ahead and fill that in. So now we have two different sizes, which is what we want. And we're going to be placing our image points in particular places so they settle nicely above the move rock. So our first origin point for frame 0 actually needs to be set to 2 on the X and -3 on the Y. If you can see it, let me flip this back. It's right up here. And that will be sitting this nicely. We'll take a look at it in just a second. And for frame 1, we need to reverse that. So on frame 1, we need X to be at -3 and Y to be at 2. And that should be all we have to do in here. And the reason we have that set there is you see it now sits very nicely in the middle of the actual space. So if we put this over the hole here, you can see it kind of overlaps into this cell and this cell, but not up and down. If we wanted to have it checking the up and down, we switch it over to this frame. And now it's checking up and down. And because of where we have the image point set, it always stays nicely above the hole. Now here's one of the first places where we're going to use something that's not part of the free version. I think we may have already gone over our actual, we're just about at the limit for the free version, which I believe is 50 events. So I'm not sure about the free ones, I am sorry, but what we're going to do here is to make this simpler so we don't have to actually, again, I don't like having to place something in that has multiple things that attach to it. So we're going to use our first instance of a container. We could have done this with the player, but since it's just one thing, it wasn't super important. But for the hole, we're going to have multiple holes there, and each one of those is going to need their own hole checker that links up to it. So instead of setting IDs on each of the hole checkers and assigning them to the holes and all of that, I find it's much easier to just go ahead, select the hole. We're going to come down to Container on the Properties panel, click Create, and we are going to add hole checker to it. So now these two are actually linked. These should spawn in. So now if you watch, we have the hole checker here. If I copy the hole only, copy another hole, if I save and play this, we can see that there is actually a hole checker that is assigned to each of those now. So when the hole is created at the start of the level, it will create a hole checker along with it, which is really handy. We do want to make these initially visible or initially invisible later, but for now, so I'm going to go ahead and actually copy the hole checker off of this and paste it over here in the objects panel or the objects layout, just like I did with everything else. Come back in, I can delete this now. And again, now for setting up and level layout, level design, all I have to do is just put in the holes, and when you hit play, it will bring them all in. So that's what we want to happen there. Now, we need to check the holes themselves. So let's go ahead and have a couple of different things happen. So we need to edit a little bit of the code we worked on last time. So nothing too crazy, but what we want to do, we're going to come back into move rocks for each move rock. And on each of these, we see when it is moving, we actually want to set them to a different animation. So for right now, so if the move rock is moving right, we want to set all hole checkers, and this will affect all the hole checkers because we're not calling out any specific one. We are going to set its frame to 0 if it is moving right or left. So we can go ahead and actually just drag this to here. And then if it's going up or down, we want to have it go to frame 1. And that will make sure that we don't catch the wrong hole at the wrong time. So now we can see all the hole checkers should be horizontal. If I hit this move rock, they stay horizontal. If I move it if I hit the rock vertically, they all check vertically. That way they're checking up and down. That way if the move rock moves this way along the side of the hole, it won't accidentally trigger and think that it fell in the hole. So that's pretty simple for the check. Next up, we need to see if the move rock has hit the hole checker. And this is a pretty simple way to do this. So all we have to do is, let's collapse all this. We're going to come into move rock is moving. So make sure you select this, hit B for a new blank sub event. We are going to double click. We will go to move rock, and we're going to check to see if it's overlapping another object. And that other object will be the hole check. Now, one thing we need to add is whether or not the hole check has been touched or not. So real fast, let's go ahead over here in projects, select hole check. Go to instance variables, add an instance variable, and we will just call this touched. So make it a Boolean. we added that in because I forgot to add that in before, and we need to check it right here. So if the move rock is overlapping a hole check, and see, hole check, we want to check its Boolean to see if it has been touched. We want to see if it has not been touched, so we are going to invert it. Press I on the keyboard, B for a new blank sub-event, and we are going to do a couple of things. This is just to make sure that the new blank sub-event is to make sure that this is all correct and reading the right hole checker. So we will go into hole, and the nice thing is when things are in a container, the hole checker and the hole are actually somewhat linked, so you don't have to refer to them by like their unique IDs or anything like that. If you have something happen to one hole check and then do something to the hole, it should only do that to the hole that it spawned in as part of the container. That should make sense, hopefully more in just a minute. Scroll on down to solid, set enabled, set it to disabled. Then we are going to want to actually move the hole. So once again, add action, hole. Once the hole is full, it's no longer in the way or anything on the field anymore. We want to keep it there, but we don't want to actually have it interact or be overlapping anything else. So we are going to move it to a layer, move to layer, and we will move it to the background layer. Then we will add a weight of 0.15, and we will destroy the move rock that touched it. So double click on move rock and go down to destroy, and we will destroy that. Now, last but not least, we will come back here, hit B for a new blank sub event, double click, and these are the things that will trigger once while true. This is just to make sure that they work out. I've messed with moving these things around, and this is the way that it has always worked, so we're going to go with it. Trigger once while true. Add action. Hole. Set animation. So we're going to go to set animation, and we will set it to full. Oh, oops. I actually mixed this up. Sorry. So we want to move the layer to background here. On this section up here, actually, add action, hole. We just want to move to bottom of layer. Move to bottom of the layer. And that's so that way the move rock, if it does slightly overlap the hole, it doesn't actually move behind it. And then last but not least, add action, hole checker. We need to go down to set Boolean, set touched to true. And then just as an added check, I like to do this for the holes. We can go ahead and just add it into move rock hole. This is just an added safety thing to make sure that nothing gets all wonky. So we want to check to see if an animation is playing. Is playing animation. We will be checking to see if it's full. And we will just make sure that we set hole solid to disabled. It's just a extra backup. So now we should be able to check this out. If I move over, hit this in, that looked like it worked, but we have the issue of the hole checkers being in the way. So we'll go over to object, select hole check, scroll on down, and go to initially visible, uncheck. Save, make sure we go back to game and hit play, and let's see if this works. So now I should be able to walk up to this rock and hit it in. Hey, look at that. And now that that's gone, I can actually walk over this hole. That is fantastic. Let's see if it should work from any direction, but the way these are set up, I can't actually hit the rock in them. So let's move the holes around. And this is why I like the containers, because instead of having to move the hole checker and the container and everything with it, I can go ahead and just kind of move the hole itself around and have everything work out. So let's show an example of how this would actually work. Let's put a hole right here, and let's go ahead and copy this one out and do that. So now we wouldn't actually be able to get through this area because that hole is in our way. But if we hit this rock over, it fills up the hole, and now we have space to walk through. So that's how that's supposed to work. Excellent. All right, well, I know that was a bunch. I hope this didn't go on too long. I may have had to break this up. I don't actually know, but I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.